Bruh.
Give me a hell yeah. What?
What's up, bro? This bad boy right here, man.
You tight.
Gaming. Video games have been a part of my life for literally as long as I can remember. The history of video games go as far back as the early 1950s, when academic scientists began designing simple games and simulations as part of their research. It really wasn't until the 1980s when gaming started to become popular in a form of entertainment, media, and part of modern popular culture as a whole. Regardless if you grew up playing E.T. on the Atari 2600, ew, I hope not, Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy on the PS1, or God of War on the PS2, we can all relate that video games have an impact on our lives. Allow me to explain. For a few minutes, before I get into how video games impacted me personally, I want to speak on something pretty relevant right now. So recently, as some of you may know, President Donald Trump hosted a White House roundtable with some video game CEOs and representatives where they debated on whether or not violent video games have an impact on people to want to go out and commit these violent activities. There were a lot of things that were said that day, and some even mentioned how the conversation shouldn't be, just about video games, but also about other violent media such as film. But without rambling about it too much, Trump stated, and I quote, "Hearing more and more people say the level of violence on video games is really shaping young people's thoughts." Now, when I say that video games have an impact, what exactly do I mean by that? In my opinion, someone the age of Donald Trump, I think it's easy to point the finger at video games because it's something he obviously didn't engage with as a child. And yes, there are a lot of violent video games out there. Now, I'm no expert in psychology, and I obviously don't know what's in everyone's mind, but I do know that there have been studies that state that there aren't any true evidence proving that violent video games cause these devastating violent acts. And I think they just don't have a clue on how to stop gun violence. Now, impact. Do I mean that positively or negatively? Well, that really depends on how you view it. Are you a 20-year-old college student who loves playing Xbox every night and think video games are the best thing ever? Are you in your late 40s and think video games are bad for your brain? Or are you a mother who thinks that their 9-year-old son is going to beat kids up at school because they're playing Street Fighter? Either way, I'm not being biased towards any aspects of viewpoints, nor am I stating that any viewpoint is justified. What I am saying is, video games, whether good or bad, have an impact on our lives. When I say they impact you in a bad way, I mean it depends. I personally wouldn't want my 6-year-old child playing Grand Theft Auto, mostly due to the fact that it's just not suitable for them. It's inappropriate due to its nudity and swearing and violence too. You know what I mean? But when I say violence isn't suitable for them, I don't think the shootings in the game and stuff like that are going to have a mental effect on them down the line to the point where they want to go and shoot up a school. It's just not healthy for a 6-year-old child. They should be watching Scooby-Doo or frickin' SpongeBob, you know what I mean? There's different ways of viewing things. Look, games have sometimes been praised or demonized, usually without any proof backing those beliefs up. However, gaming is a popular activity, so everyone seems to have strong opinions on the topic. Now, I can't vouch for everyone, but I do know a lot of people will say that without video games, they don't know where they would be in life. Some have told me they'd probably be in a gang or doing something they shouldn't be doing. Video games kept them inside, made them focus more, and be more creative. I know people who learned how to illustrate because of video games. People who have gone on to reading more, believe it or not. Some who have become lead guitarists in their own band because of video games. Now that's what you call an impact. Even me, trying to learn the piano on the daily because of games like Kingdom Hearts and its amazing songs. And I don't know about you watching this, but as for me, video games changed my life in the best way possible. I want to give a huge shout out to my brother who, without even knowing at the time, would change my life forever. When he went off to college and I was around 6, he gave me his Super Nintendo with F-Zero and Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. I know, it's lit. But I only had those 2 games that I would play for hours and hours after I did my homework, of course. It put me in a place where I never knew I could go to, a place where I could use my imagination and pretend I was inside those spaceships, or pretend I was Link cutting those trees in the rain. Then I got my first Game Boy, the Game Boy Color, with I believe Wario Land 2? Yeah, I don't know, but it was awesome though.
Get down there! Get down there!
Story time. I can literally go on for days on how many video game memories I have growing up. We all have those moments where we just smile and reminisce on how simpler the times were back then and how much we took for granted how precious those days were with no responsibilities. I remember this one Christmas when I got the GameCube with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and Casper the Spirit Dimensions. Yeah, I know. I remember like it was yesterday when my dad was working at the time, taking the M train with him to Toys R Us in Metropolitan Queens to get a game every other freaking week. Getting Kirby Air Ride, then F-Zero GX 2 weeks after, then Jimmy Neutron on the Game Boy Advance. I even remember when my dad got his income tax and told me, "Hey kid, we're going to GameStop. I'm gonna get you a PS2. Psh, what? You don't understand how happy I was. I only had a GameCube for about 3 years. Walking into that GameStop as a kid, seeing all these games, these characters, it was just amazing to me. I ended up getting a refurbished fat PS2 with Sonic Heroes. I played the hell out of it. I played it so much that it stopped reading the discs. So I ended up going with my dad again to Toys R Us to get a slim PS2 and Kingdom Hearts. And they were both sold out. Can you believe that? My mom knew how much I love video games and she would buy me SmackDown vs. Raw every year for Christmas. I just missed that so much. I used to play the same 2 or 3 games all day. No online, no voice chat, nothing. Just my Tips and Tricks magazine and my cousins and I playing Melee or Monkey Ball all night. In middle school, all my friends and I would bring our game booklets to school to show off the latest game you just got. I remember the constant arguments about what's better, PS3, 360, or the Wii. I mean, I would defend the hell out of the Wii because that was all I had. I remember one of my cousin's boyfriends had an original Xbox back in the day, and me being a young kid used to think that the Xbox was strictly for grown-ups. That thing intimidated the hell out of me, but I would go up to him and ask him kind of scared like, "Hey, can I play the Xbox?" He would just be like, "Of course, bro," and there it was, the Halo screen. All of those things I'm talking about are only scratching the surface of my awesome childhood memories. My point is, this all defined who I am today. Animated. Someone who is full of life, positive spirit. I like to light up the mood. I'm lively, full of energy. I honestly think that without video games, I would probably just be a boring old fart. And the older I got, I never grew out of it. Yeah, I may not get as excited for a new game or console as I once used to be, or I may not be as hyped to walk into a game store anymore, but I honestly think I would never lose the passion for gaming. It's something that will always be a part of me. And the crazy thing about all of this, I didn't know what was going on that whole time. I was going through the motions, I was living in the moment, not knowing that one day I will look back and think to myself, man, that was epic. I never wanted to be a collector, I just kept getting games and never wanted to give them away. I've recently created an Instagram about a year ago just for my video games, as well as to spread positivity and join the awesome community in the gaming world. I've made some awesome new friends because of it. I'm even in a group chat of a few awesome gamers from New York City, and the energy is just so positive, man. I never knew how cool this community can be. Even though a lot of people on my Instagram that I've conversed with, who I haven't even met yet, I consider them friends. I don't want to start naming names because I don't want to miss out on anyone, but you know who you are. But yeah, sorry if this video took a different turn and I just started rambling about my life story. But yeah, that's an impact. That's what you call an impact. Whether good or bad, it affects us all, and I'm grateful for every bit of it. How did gaming affect you? Did it have a negative impact on you? Are you crazy now, or did it piss you off? Does it mean a lot to you still, or is it just good old memories for you? Either way, let me know in the comments, guys. I really appreciate it if you went this far. Please like, share, and subscribe for more awesome content. I'll check you later.